Hello and thank you for joining me today. Today I'm sharing with you a mixed media canvas that I created for Renea's Bouquet as a guest designer for the month of March. This is just a small tiny little canvas that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and as you can see I'm cutting a piece of blue Fern studio paper that you can find in the shop. I will have all the products listed below so you can find anything that you need, but I'm just cutting it to size and distressing it a little bit. So while I'm doing this, I just want to say thank you to Renee for having me, and I hope that you enjoy this video. And if you don't want to listen to me ramble, you can go ahead and mute me now. But here we go. So as you can see, I've distressed it, and I'm just adhering it with a little bit of gel medium. This is just a soft medium that I have left in my desk, so I'm trying to use up my supplies so I can have some room, because apparently I can't stop buying them. No, anyways. So I'm adhering this, I'll dry this, and I'm just making sure that it's all in place and lined up pretty evenly. It's not too big of a deal either way. I'm just trying to really give some stabilization to this canvas. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of gesso over the top of this because this pattern's a little bit too much for what I have in my head. And I probably could have gone a little bit lighter with this heavy gesso, but my gesso is a little bit old, so it's a little on the thicker side. So I do put this on with the dry brush, and I try to brush a little bit of it off, but it does turn out pretty well in the end. It looks heavier on camera than it actually is, so you can still see a little bit of the pattern in the background, but I know it looks like, well, why did you put any paper on there? But whatever. Anyhow, so now I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of texture through a stencil, and I'm just using some plaster paste for this, and I'm just doing little parts of the stencil. And that's just to give me a little bit of texture in the background for when I add my color, so it'll give it a little bit of movement and it'll just make things puddle in different ways. So that's my thought there. And like I said, this is a really tiny canvas, you guys, so there's a lot going on in it, and I'm trying to keep things pretty straightforward, but sorry if it's a little sped up because it is just a tiny little canvas. But here I'm adding some Linseeds, and you can see I'm just using a little tray because I'm going to add them like watercolors. So I have a mix of purples, and then I even use a little bit of liquid acrylic that I'm going to add some water to here. And I'm just going to start playing with these just like they're watercolors. I'm just adding a little bit along the edge, and I know it looks like it's not as bright, but in person it was really, really dark. So you're going to see that I'm going to dab some of this off and add some water and dab it off. And it looks like I wipe it all off, but I really don't. I'm sorry the camera on this is not really picking up how dark it really is in person, because this looks okay, but it was really, really dark. But so I'm just going to play with my color, and I'm going to dry it in between and dab and dry until I'm happy with the way it looks. And I know it looks like it's almost gone, and I'm sorry for that, but there really is quite a bit of color there, and you can see that in the final pictures. But I'm making sure that I just get a little bit of color around the edge of my canvas, because you do see the edge of the canvas, so you don't see it on camera right now, but it's there, and I always like to make sure that I cover the edges of my canvas. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of like distressing the edge of your photos or inking the edge of your photos. Why wouldn't you do it? It's there. But that's just me. Anyhow, continue to add color, and I'm just drying as I go along, trying to work through that. And now I'm going to go ahead and work with the gears. Now again, all the products that I've used are listed below, and these are from Renea's Bouquet. And I'm just adding a little bit of Lindsay's silver spoon or silver something, anyways. But I'm just adding that on, and I'm drying it. So layer dry until I'm happy with the way that it looks. And then I have the silver gears. So now I'm putting them in place. I'm trying to decide where everything is going to go. Now I really, really, really sped this up, and it's because, you know, I'm moving things around, I'm gluing them and taking them off, and you guys get the idea. And honestly, you know, sometimes you walk away from things and you go do laundry, or you change over laundry, or you let the dog out, or you do a canvas like this. It's not in 10 minutes. I know some people think you sit down and you do something, it's like an hour, but it's not. You know, you come back and you go back, and you come back and you go back. Anyways, I'm rambling, I'm sorry. So this little faucet is something from my stash, and I honestly, it's probably so old, you guys, I don't even know where it came from. I'm thinking that it's one of Prima's old Trinkets. I'm sorry to use it if you're trying to find something exactly, but I'm honestly trying to get the stuff out of my room that I've bought and hoarded for years. So sorry about that. Anyways, you can see I'm trying to get my configuration of where I want my gears and my flowers and all my little trinkets to go, and that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm just adhering things and playing with them until I'm happy with where everything's at. And you can see that I have Renee's beautiful purple, I'm sorry, they're lavender tea roses. And these roses are really sturdy. Normally I have to put a bunch of gesso on any kind of paper products that I use so they hold up the medium that I'm going to add to them. And these are really sturdy, you guys. I haven't used them before. They're kind of similar to some of the white ones that I have that I used in my classes. But these are sturdy. They hold the color pretty well. If I was going to add more color to them, I maybe would add some gesso to them, but they worked out really great. So I was pretty happy with that. And that I'm pretty sure that all the roses that I used on this are one set. So that's actually a good collection of roses too. Now I'm on to my trinkets. So these spoons come in a trinket set, and then of course you can see I have a couple of Finnabar pieces. Now I wanted both of the spoons to be silver, so I'm adding some clear gesso to the brass one, and I'm going to add some wax over top of the clear gesso. I'm just putting the gesso on so it'll grab a little bit more, and you can see that I'm adding the silver now. Now I know that one's really, really shiny and one's a little bit duller. And that's fine, but I just wanted them to be the same color family. So I'm continuing to add wax, and then I'm going to move on to my trinkets. Now I do get a little bit out of camera on this, and I do apologize, but I'm just adding a little bit of gesso to these two metal trinkets from Finnabar, and that's just so my paint will stick to them a little bit better. And I'm sorry I'm out of camera. I hope you'll bear with me. Sometimes it's hard to focus what the camera's picking up and what I'm doing because I'm just finally actually in the zone creating. So bear with me. Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do because I'm not really 100% sure if I want to add wax or paint. I decide on paint. So I'm adding paint to this, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put one quick coat on it. That's all I need. And again, I'm just trying to make these coordinate a little bit better because it's such a tiny canvas. And next I'm going to start adding the beads and the glitter there. And you see it's a fine pink glitter, and it's a really dark purple micro bead. And I do add some diamond shards in there as well because they're gorgeous and I just can't help myself. But anyways, I'm adding a little bit of glossy accents to these spoons, and I'm just gonna drop a whole bunch of little micro beads and glitter in there, and I'm gonna mix it all together. And my thought process is that these are going to dangle from the bottom of the canvas, and they're part of the factory in my head. So that's what this canvas is. It's a little fairy dust factory, and that's in my head. So it is what it is. But when you have two small girls and these are the movies that you've watched for the last 10 years, that's what happens. Anyways. So you can see I'm just adding the micro beads and the glitter, and I'm just mixing it with a little tiny pen. And then I'm going to put these to the side and dry. Now I've attached them, and I've just added a little bit of beads on wire to have them dangle. And you can see there's just little clear beads and some purple beads, and I've attached the spoons after they're dry. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start adding some more color. And this is a metallic paint from Finnabar. I believe it's French lavender or lavender, one of the two. Again, all the products are listed below. And I'm just adding a little bit of paint, and I'm adding a little bit of water, and I'm moving it around. And I'm just trying to get a little bit more color on the canvas. And when you water down these metallic paints, they kind of give like a shimmer. And the shimmer spreads out, and it's just an easy way to add a little bit of something. And I like the way it looks, so that's what I'm doing here. And I'm just moving the paint and drying as I go. And I do speed this up quite a bit, so I'm sorry the canvas moves quite a bit, but I'm trying to show you the complete process, so bear with me again. Anyhow, so everything's drying, and now I'm going to go ahead and tuck a tiny bit of lace. Now this piece of lace is actually from Renee as well. It's a scrap of lace though. It's off of a previous product that I've made. So you're not going to find that exact lace, but you can also see the tiny flower piece of lace that's up in the corner there, that's from that scrap of lace as well. So your lace can go a long way, and just don't forget that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, so now I've decided that I'm going to add some of the matte wax, and this is the white wax from Fern, and I like the way this looks, but I wanted it a little bit more, and I wanted to bring out the silver from the flower sign a little bit more. So I decide I'm going to go in with silver paint instead. So you can see I've like changed my mind quite a bit in this canvas, and that's just how I roll, I guess. But I'm adding a little bit of silver paint on the top of the roses, and again, I sped this up a lot because you know, you don't need to see the hour or whatever it took. Anyhow, so now I'm adding a little bit of 3D gloss gel, and I'm just adding it with a paintbrush, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding microbeads. I add a layer of microbeads, I add a layer of glitter, and I add a layer of the diamond shards because they're gorgeous. And I just can't help myself. So you can see I've added a little bit, and I'm sprinkling it, and I repeat this process over and over again, but I don't record all of it because, again, you don't need to see me sprinkling when you can hardly see it anyways, but you can see it in the final pictures. So I did do it, it's there. Now I'm adding these moonstones, and they are so stunning, you guys. I had to stop myself because I just wanted to keep putting them on here. They're beautiful. And you can see I've put them inside the flowers. I put them in the gears, kind of like, you know, pretending it's like the screw that's holding it in, I guess. And then I put them on the petals, and I'm just adhering them with a little bit of gel medium, but I've put them all over this canvas. And you can see that in the final pictures, and they're iridescent, they're beautiful. They really are a very versatile product, and I can see that I'm going to need more of them because I'm going to go through this little tiny jar. I can tell you that. But anyways, I digress. So I'm just adding my little moonstones all around the canvas, and mind you, I sped this up and cut some of this out, so this did take a little bit of time trying to figure out where I wanted them to go. I even put one in that side, inside the little rose there. And I'm just sprinkling glitter and microbeads and diamond shards, and I'm just sprinkling, and that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add a little bit of splatters. I probably was a little heavy-handed with my splatters, but I liked it, so I just went with it. And I do think that it turned out okay in the end, but it does look really heavy right here. So I go ahead and I add the purple, and now I'm going to add some white, and I'm just trying to bring the white across the canvas because I have that lace on the edge there, and so I wanted some more white to be on the other side as well. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit more cohesive, I guess. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my little fairy in, and the 2 butterflies that came with this set as well. And there's an additional fairy in this set too, and I'm sure I'll probably do something else with her. But I took the 2 butterflies with this, and then the fairy, and now I'm going to go ahead and make, in my mind, like I said, the sign. And it's going to say fairy dust, which is another set of chipboard from Renee's shop. And the chipboard is finished with that white. It's a beautiful white board, and it's a little bit ivory. It's not a true bright white. So I wanted to change the color just a tiny bit. So I went ahead with Iris Potion, I believe it is, from Fern. It's a Sparks paint. And I'm just going to paint these 2 little words, and then I'm going to adhere them up in the corner. So you can see what I've done, my little dangles, all my splatters, all my beads, all my glitter, and I hope that you've enjoyed my process. Thank you so much for joining me. You have a wonderful day. Make sure you hop over to the shop and see some of the beautiful things she has in store for you. And again, thank you for spending your time with me, and you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.